Today we're talking about going to the bathroom on Mount Kilimanjaro. When you're thinking about climbing Mount Kilimanjaro and when you finally book that trip with your guiding company, one question that you need to ask is, do you provide a private toilet? If the answer is no, then you need to fork over the $20 a day or the $30 a day or the $40 a day or whatever it costs to have a private toilet on Mount Kilimanjaro. That's important, and I'm going to tell you why in just a second. On Mount Kilimanjaro itself, on the trails, various trails that lead to the summit, Uruhu Peak, there are various toilet structures. These are called long drop toilets. They are public toilets. Everyone uses them, or everyone can use them. They're essentially a wooden shack built over kind of this pit of poop. It's poop pit with a shed over the top of it. I used one of the long drop toilets on my very first day of the climb. So when we're still in the rainforest, day one, I had to go to the bathroom. And so I thought it would just be like going into an outhouse in the US and you'd open up a door and there'd be some sort of a toilet there. And that's not the case. It's really just, you just squat on these boards and go to the bathroom. Now, I'm not a princess. I don't want you to get the wrong idea. I'll go to the bathroom anywhere, but it was pretty gross. And that was the last time that I used a long drop toilet. From then on, I either went to the bathroom at camp or I ducked behind a rock or behind a tree, but I did not use any more long drop toilets. Now, when you get to camp, if you've hired a private toilet, that toilet is going to be set up for you. It's going to be a nice little toilet. It's going to be in a nice little tent with some ventilation. There's going to be toilet paper. There's going to be hand sanitizer. Your guides and porters are really going to do a good job of taking care of you. Before we came on this trip, there were lots of questions about the toilet situation. So this is where we've been going to the bathroom. Look at that. Look at these nice little toilets. They're adorable. We have 5. So I think everyone felt sufficiently, I don't know, you comfortable in there? Woo! I think everyone felt pretty comfy with the toilet situation. I think for our group of 20, do we have 24, 25 climbers, I think we had 5 toilets set up at camp every night. I'm not sure what the typical like toilet to client ratio is, but that's also maybe another question to ask your guiding company is, do you have a private toilet? And if so, how many people use that toilet? Because I imagine you probably don't want to have more than 5 or 6 people sharing one camping toilet. Now, as you're hiking, and I can only speak about the 7-day Machame route because that's the route that I did. But as you're climbing, you go up from the rainforest, and the higher you climb, the more barren the land becomes, the fewer trees, the fewer places to get a lot of privacy when you're going to the bathroom. And that's just like hiking anywhere, right? You get above timberline and then it's where you're going to get some privacy. I was always able to find a tree or a rock to go to the bathroom behind. If there wasn't sufficient trees or rocks for privacy, our guides were really good about turning their back so that we could have some privacy. I mean, they don't really want to see our butts, I don't think. I don't think that would be like an enjoyable part of the job. So they're very good at giving you privacy. So usually peeing's not that big of a deal. It's pooping that is the bigger deal. We found, and this happened in Peru too, but we found that when we would arrive at camp for the night, so we'd get there in the mid to late afternoon, our guides would cook popcorn for us and they would encourage us to eat popcorn, and then they would give us hot drinks, and then they would feed us dinner. And I asked about the popcorn, and I was told that they give us popcorn to open up our digestion. And I think what they're really trying to do is get some fiber in us as soon as we get to camp. and they're trying to help us poop so that we can poop before we start hiking the next day. It's really smart if you think about it. Give your clients a lot of fiber when they first get to camp, and hopefully they will have time to evacuate their bowels before you start hiking the next day. Now, if you do have to poop during the hike, during the day, then it's just a matter of finding a place where you can poop. You can either bury it 6 inches underground like we do here in the US according to Leave No Trace guidelines and pack out the toilet paper, or you can bring a wag bag and pack out your poop as well. I had a wag bag with me. I didn't use it because I was usually able to go to the bathroom at camp. I'm comfortable, and I would recommend, using a wag bag to pack out your human waste and your toilet paper. Just because it sucks, and this happens in the US too, but it sucks to go behind a tree and see an unburied landmine. My kids call poop that's not buried landmines, but to see an unburied pile of human poop with some toilet paper, that's just gross. I think we can all do better than that. And really, it's not that big of a deal to get a wag bag and pack out your poop. Some women on our trip used a Go Girl, a pee funnel, or a female urinary device to be able to pee standing up, which I think is great. I didn't use my Go Girl on our Kilimanjaro climb. I had it with me, but I just find it's easier to squat, and then I don't want to have to clean my Go Girl and then dispose of a wipe, and for me, it's just easier to just squat and pee than to use a pee funnel. And I know that sometimes at night, especially when it's cold, it can be difficult to get out of the tent, put your camp shoes on, and walk over to the toilet tent and go to the bathroom, and then you get cold, and then you come back and get in your sleeping bag, and you could wake up your roommate, and it's like a whole thing. So some people do bring a pee bottle, like a designated, this is not a pee bottle, this is just my water bottle, but bring a designated pee bottle that they'll use in the night if they need to go to the bathroom. I have never quite mastered using a pee funnel to pee into a water bottle in a very small 2-person mountaineering tent in the middle of the night when it's dark. In my mind, that's something that needs to be practiced. And in my opinion, it's not that hard to put your camp shoes on and walk to the toilet and then come back. And my tent mate and I would hear her start to put her shoes on and unzip the tent, and I would wake up and I would just go to the bathroom. We kind of just would go to the bathroom when the other one was going to the bathroom to make it easy. Maybe we synchronized our bladders on Kilimanjaro. I don't really know. If you have plans to use a pee funnel and pee into a water bottle in the middle of the night on Kilimanjaro, I would practice doing that camping ahead of time, or I would practice it at home and pretend you're in a really small space and see how that goes for you. But definitely practice ahead of time. Even if you're just going to use a pee funnel when you're out on the trail, still practice that at home, because there can be dripping and leaking. And go check out our other video all about peeing and pee funnels and female urinary devices. The other thing that I want to mention is toilet paper. I am a huge fan of packing out your toilet paper, even if you're just using it to wipe away urine. I just think pack it in, pack it out. Don't leave your toilet paper out there. I do have these really cool Hike Like a Woman Kula cloths. There's a couple different companies that make pee cloths for women. You can use pee cloth, you can use toilet paper, wipes, whatever, but make sure that you're packing out any waste. And if you're using a pee cloth, like a Kula cloth, make sure you're rinsing it out at night and trying to keep it as clean as possible. Just a quick recap. When you book your trip for Kilimanjaro, the first thing to do is ask your guiding company if they provide a private toilet. If they say yes, then ask how many people share the toilet. And if they say no, then say how much does it cost so that I can have a private toilet on Kilimanjaro, because you do not want to use the long drop toilets. Second thing, some bathroom essentials to pack would be a pee funnel if you think you're going to need one, a Kula cloth if that's your thing, or some wipes. We used Wizzy wipes on Kilimanjaro, which are also really cool. And if you are going to use a pee funnel on Kilimanjaro, make sure you're practicing at home before you fly to Tanzania with it, and hope that you're not going to pee on yourself. Now, before I go, I do want to mention something new. I have been getting a ton of questions about climbing Mount Kilimanjaro lately. In a way, I feel like I'm not a Kilimanjaro expert because I've only climbed the mountain once. However, I did take a ton of notes when I was on Kilimanjaro because I knew that I was coming back to Kilimanjaro this year and probably every year for the rest of my life because I love that mountain and I love climbing that mountain with a group of adventurous women. And if you want to find out how you can climb Kilimanjaro with me in August, click a link over here somewhere or in the description below. Because I've been getting so many questions, I've decided to start coaching. So if you have questions about climbing Mount Kilimanjaro and you want to hop on a coaching call with me, click that link down in the description. You can find out all about our Mount Kilimanjaro coaching, and that gives you the chance to sit down with me and pick my brain and ask me any questions that you might have, especially questions about the Machame route, because that is the route that I climbed and the route that I'm climbing again, and I really like that route. That's all I have for today. Go check out this video next because it's about whatever YouTube thinks you want to watch.